Well, hello and cheers to my lockdown diaries. My name is Inez Robinson. Yes, I am dressed, sitting out in the garden in my home. You're very welcome to see me here. And I was asked by Ali and through Costa Women in order to document my lockdown diaries, which is quite an interesting thing. You know, when someone says to you, what happened through your diaries? You know, what happened to you through lockdown, and how has it affected you? And you know, what are you doing now, and what's going on, and all this type of thing. Because everybody has their own story. So, of course, this all happened in March. I have to say, I was like probably 99.9% of people. It's just the flu. I don't know why they're making such a big hoo-ha. We've had Brexit for all these years, and now suddenly there's lockdown. You know, can't they find something else to get Brexit off the news with? And then it became sort of pretty serious that it was going to be lockdown. We all heard about the toilet rolls disappearing. And going on about toilet rolls, I bought them, only my husband and I and 6 dogs, so we're into rescue, who live here. And so we only bought 2 packs, you know, of like 18 rolls. We're still on our 2nd pack. What are these people doing with all these hundreds of packs that they've got? They've either got huge families or serious bowel problems, or I don't know what. Anyway, so I think it was a Friday, just before lockdown here, which was the middle of March. I'm in the Malaga region of Spain, in Alarin El Grande, and I thought, ooh, this is actually getting quite serious. So I had a couple of little appointments, nothing serious, you know, just sort of social things, and I cancelled them. And I said to my husband, I'm going shopping. I'm not worried for us, there will always be human food, but our dogs eat like kings. They are raw fed. And I'm very particular with what they get, and hopefully, you know, they seem we don't go to the vets, they don't get ill, and everything's great. So I thought, no, I need to make sure that we've got enough of everything. So I ended up going to about 6 or 7 different shops, really stocking up. I could hardly get all their stuff in their chest freezer, and came home and thought that was it. And then it was announced lockdown, and it was going to be for 2 weeks. And I thought, gosh, this is great, because a year ago I had taken on a fitness studio with a cafe. I was actually running a fit club in there when the owners said to me that they were leaving, and I ended up taking it on. Now, my background is actually nutrition. Well, my background is real estate, but so that's a big long story. But my last business is nutrition, and it was doing okay and great, but I was getting a bit bored of just working from home. So the opportunity came up, and I thought, great, if I take this on, I can build this as a community centre. People can use it. You know, small businesses can use it and everything for a very reasonable cost. I only need to cover the bills, and then I can use it for what I want to do, which is build my team bigger and do trainings and this type of thing. So there was a plan, but it sort of started getting really out of hand, and I was getting extremely busy with the whole thing, to the point I was starting to feel quite tied to it, and I'm not sure that my body can sort of keep up with everything that's going on. I really was starting to run myself into the ground. So when lockdown came, I thought, oh, great, you know, I can rest for a couple of weeks. So I was like, yay. I'm at home where I love being, enforced, and what else can I do? So that was the first 2 weeks. And then it became apparent it was going to get worse, and it was going to go on longer, and I started thinking, ooh, you know, I think the whole world is going to change. You know, all the countries are in lockdown, everybody's in lockdown, people are getting used to doing stuff online, they've really adapted to being at home, they've learned that they can actually manage and live with only going shopping once a week. They don't have to buy all this stuff. I think the world is going to change for after lockdown. So I started putting things into place, and with some of my team members, we launched a nutrition club online. Everything is online. We're growing, the business is growing like crazy. Which made me realise I didn't actually need the cafe any longer. And I think that because there's no terrace, my concern was that I wasn't going to be able to get people to come in. The design of it with the studio inside means I can right now, if I wanted to open, I could only get 4 people in. And who's going to want to sit inside? It's 31 degrees. It's absolutely beautiful. Who wants to sit indoors? When you're indoors, a lot of people all the time, they want to be out. So I've decided to give up the cafe. The owner's been absolutely brilliant. He's offered me 6 months free rent, just in case I change my mind, as long as I pay the electricity and the water, which takes the pressure off getting rid of everything. But I've decided I like to be at home. So lockdown for me really grounded me again. It made me realise what was important to me, and that's being at home with my husband, with the dogs, and just being able to live like this. I'm working, this, sunbed, got the pool. This is work. This is my work office. And I can converse with people. I have this wonderful little tripod thing that the telephone's on here. So, video calls are really easy, and I'm sitting here and, cheers. Oh, lovely. And, isn't this what life's all about? So it's really made me reevaluate things, and I've become more grateful for the things that I did have that I didn't realize I had, or suppose I got used to, and therefore decided that, I maybe got a bit bored, a bit fed up, and I couldn't see a way forwards. So everything's great, We've now come out of phase 0 into phase 1. We've gone through several phases. There was, phase minus 99 at one stage where you literally weren't allowed out. Because I'm somebody who does things, I'm quite an active sort of person. I helped with families out here of all nationalities with no food. Horrific, really, to see people turning up in branded cars, that own businesses that can't work because they're not allowed to work. And the money from the government hadn't come through, so they had nothing to feed their kids with. Very, very grateful, but, made some great contacts that I know for me in the future is going to be pretty good. So I will start to communicate more with these people and see that they're okay. Was able to carry on through some of the rescue work, but very, very limited. The animal rescue work, which was also good. But yeah, I think nature has grown. It's wonderful to see, even though we live not in the middle of nowhere. We live on the edge of town, but you think you're in the middle of nowhere because we have no neighbours at all. But there are more birds around. Definitely, there's more insects around, there's more bees around, and I think Mother Nature is regenerating, which can't be a bad thing. And I was out this morning, which is, when did we come into phase 1 was Monday. I didn't go out because there were so many other people going to be out, but I was out Tuesday, Wednesday and today, and people are just going and doing what they need to do and then going back. There's not a lot of atmosphere. It's nice to see people, and you feel like you're allowed to stop and talk to people, which is actually, that's nice. And I was around with a friend earlier and a few other ladies, and it was really nice to be able to get together. But we're all conscious that, too much of getting together could also raise the risk of spreading the virus again, which is, not that we want to do that. So it's a very different time, isn't it? We went out for a meal. A friend of mine invited me out for a meal because it was my birthday last weekend, and we went to this place called the Boma. Lovely big terrace. They normally have loads of people. It's normally quite rammed in there. It's very good. And it was weird because only half of the outside terrace was allowed to be used. You could only enter through one way. You had to sanitize your hands. They had hand sanitizer there. You were sort of pointing your tables over there, and off you went. They wore masks. We didn't wear masks, and it was weird not wearing a mask because I've worn one all the time. And we sat down and we're having a bit of a laugh, but there was no real atmosphere because it wasn't as crammed and as packed as it would normally be. But the meal was great and everything. And then when other people were leaving, they were spraying the table down and spraying the chairs down, almost like we're lepers. You sort of feel like you're unclean. I had a shower before I came out. You don't have to do that. But it's good that people are sticking to it. I do like that. The government here have enforced from today wearing masks in public places if you can't keep that 2-metre distance. And of course you've got all these people who are up in arms about it, and I'm like, I don't understand why you've got a problem. If you're walking in the campo with your dogs, you don't need to wear a mask. Around your house, you don't need to wear a mask. Walking in the high street, you don't need to wear a mask unless you can't get past other people. And what I noticed that was happening were there were people out and about, and they were getting close. I mean, I was selling some stuff out of my cafe. So when someone's coming in and I'm sort of standing back out the way, they're getting quite close to me. And I'm sort of thinking, just respect that 2-metre distance. I haven't got an issue. If I get it, I get it, and maybe it'll give me some immunity. But I don't want to pass it on to other people. It's the responsibility of that side of it. And I also was shopping for vulnerable people. I'm not now because they're going out and doing it themselves. So I wanted to respect them, so I don't see this big issue of wearing a mask. I've got one in my bag, I've got one in the car, and I just sort of pop it on when I go out, literally out of the car, into whatever shop and then back. So lockdown for me, it's quite funny. People are like, what do you think of lockdown? Isn't it terrible? And I'm like, this is my normal life. It's now that I realise my life has always been lockdown life, because, as I say, we live here and we're pretty self-sufficient. So I would go out to the local supermarket or shop or whatever it was I needed to do and come back. You know, we don't go, because we've had rescue dogs. We used to be a lot more sociable until we got rescue dogs. And then because of the odd fight that would happen when a new one came in or a foster, we made sure that we didn't go out together, just to make sure that the peace was kept. Because once dogs get used to each other, then there's no problem. But initially, if there's a flare-up, they can hold a grudge. They're worse than me at holding a grudge, I tell you. And then you get these constant breakups of fights. So we just made it a part of our life that we didn't really go out. And this has happened for years now. So going out for us is like odd. I'm trying to think, you can count on one hand how many times we've been out together for a meal in the last 3 years. It's terrible, really, but, you know, we're happy, so what does it matter? We've got great internet here. We've got our Wi-Fi, we've got our television, we've got, you know, everything that we possibly need. And we're very happy, and we're quite happy having friends around, as long as they don't mind dogs and they don't mind muck, because quite honestly, I've decided since lockdown that I am not going to go cleaning the house for 3 hours before somebody comes round. If they don't like the fact that my windows might be a bit dusty, well, you know, there's the door. They can go. So I think that's brought a lot of values. I'm loving seeing, actually, on social media, I was talking to somebody this morning about it, that it's normal people showing up. You know, there isn't all the sort of the Botox lips and eyebrows and all the nails and everything that always make me feel a bit sort of like old-fashioned. Because they're sort of like this. It's all normal people on there, and then everyone's having a laugh at the pyjamas that they're wearing, and their hair's sort of sticking up like this, and, you know, they haven't sort of brushed their hair for 2 days. It's becoming normal, so I'm wondering if that's going to be a trend that stays, and I hope so, because it's nice to see normal people out there with normal body shapes, however they are, enjoying life and you know, living. Which is fantastic. So, yeah, lockdown diaries. I haven't actually got any alcohol in here. Honestly, it's iced tea. But the lockdown diaries. Yeah, my life has gone back to how it was, and I'm going to keep it this way. I'm not going to let the second chance pass me by. My nutrition business is going crazy because it's a work from home opportunity. Which is something that anybody can do. You know, if you want to do it, you can do it. It's not different. You don't need a degree in anything. You know, I was a fat real estate agent. What did I know about nutrition? And so that's growing because a lot of people who are coming back who were on the products, they want to be healthier. They want to lose a bit of weight, the lockdown weight and all this. But also people they see an opportunity and they're interested in getting going. So that's been great. And it's been really so nice to help people. I love helping people, be it online or be it sort of personally. It's nice to be able to help people with whatever needs doing. So, yeah, I've got to say that's pretty great. So I've got, you know, life has been fantastic. It's not bothered me in the slightest. I suppose it's been a little bit frustrating when you're limited to how many times you can actually, itchy nose, go to the shop. But that's now gone. You can sort of go out every day if you wanted to. My car's sign written, you see, so I have to be a bit careful because if the police see me, they're like, hang on a minute, you know, we know what you look like. You were out here yesterday and the day before. And my life is actually starting to get a little bit quieter. It was really busy through lockdown because I was doing so much to help others. I was out nearly every day, and I'm thinking, I need lockdown. I need my lockdown break. Everyone else is having a good rest, and there's me racing around. And then, of course, the weather was appalling, and it's now turned decent. I did actually write a post to President Sanchez and said, you know, if you don't mind, could you please move lockdown to summertime, just so we can, you know, have the sunshine, because, hey, I'm quite happy being locked down. So thank you for listening to my ramblings. I hope that's been of some interest, and I hope you're having I wouldn't say a great lockdown, because nothing like this is great, but I hope that you are safe. I hope that your family are safe and you're keeping well. And if you see me in the streets, come and say hello. Come and shake your tic-tacs at me and say, hi! This is me, Inez Robinson, signing off.